I'm Tashi Brown. I'm the Managing Director and Chief Exec of the Black Health Initiative. That's a charity based in Leeds where we fight for fairer access to health for marginalised communities, for Black and Caribbean individuals. Within the actual UK, our main focus obviously is geographical, which is Leeds LS7 and Leeds 8. I grew up in that area, so I grew up in Chapeltown. I'm a daughter of Caribbean parents who came over to the UK by their parents in the Windrush generation. I'm passionate about Leeds, I'm passionate about Chapeltown, I'm passionate about where I come from. I have the honour of working in that community now. So BHI has a long legacy. It's been established in 1989 and 22 years ago I actually started working for them as a receptionist. So 20 odd years later it's nice to actually do that full circle. So there's a history there with myself and with the charity and with Leeds in general, so yeah. So the type of leader that I am, I would definitely say it's a honest leader. I believe in practice what you preach. I believe that you have to set an example. I feel like you have to inspire and motivate those people around you. I feel like you are only a good leader based on the people that you're leading. And it's not about a dictatorship. It's not about allowing your egos to get in the way of really motivating your team. It's about being a team player. I feel that being a leader comes with a title, but the title shouldn't define the way you lead. It should be passion. It should be the way you connect and relate to people. I feel that as Black women in particular, there is a particular type of work ethics that we have. I think we're almost trained and used to working around the clock, but it's also important that we find that balance, that we remain healthy in our minds, healthy in our souls, and build those healthy and positive relationships with each other. It's important that we're able to de-stress, because in any leadership role comes pressure, comes more stress, and you need to be able to kind of get rid of that, especially while you're in the work environment, because other people will feed off your stress and your lack of focus sometimes when you are in those leadership roles. So I think that Black women, we carry the weight of our entire communities, our families, and the wider community. As Black women, I feel that we are constantly always trying to be the best and constantly working towards sometimes really unrealistic goals and challenges. Which in turn makes us fantastic leaders, because we're not just thinking on that one task, we're thinking about multiple tasks, we're thinking about depth to what we are doing, but at the same time it adds a lot of pressure. So it's about finding that balance and really connecting with one another in a positive way. Yes, I think it goes back to the notion that we do carry the burden of our community and our wider community, within our families, within our household. We're almost programmed as young women to, you must cook, you must clean, you must be educated, you must work, you must look after your man, you must look after your children, as well as be a wonderful, outstanding human being in society. We have to always put on this brave face. And I think that is not healthy, and that's not what our counterparts have to deal with. We all have that feeling, especially most Black women, when you watch the news, for example, and you hear a crime or an incident's happened. It's like your bum cheeks are tightening because you're thinking, Lord of mercy, please don't make this be someone from our community. That in itself is part of your mental health. That in itself is a form of PTSD, it's stress. These are all things that are health problems, our health challenges that we subconsciously are having to deal with every single day. Now then, on top of it, you're then going into a system or going to work where you're talking about the health inequalities. You're dealing with the lack of mental health resources specifically for your people. That in itself is another psychological and mental health challenge that we don't even factor in. And then other organisations and our work colleagues, because they don't want to hear our cry, they don't want to see our vulnerability, and we don't want to sometimes show it, that we kind of just close that door and we suck it up and we get on with it. And it's really important that we learn to say no. Actually, we have to sometimes take our time out and breathe and just say, I'm not going to take that on today, and actually I'm not going to carry the weight of my community today. I can only do what I can do within my limitations of remaining healthy. And I feel that we have lost so many people in our community, and really influential, hardworking women that have all been in the health sector and been working in the third sector. And I think there is a connection to the level of work and pressure that they've been under, the lack of accountability from organisations and businesses where they just allow them to constantly work and be overworked, but the salaries are not compensating the level of work that they're doing, because there is some truth that actually the best way of offloading is maybe going to a spa, is maybe getting on a plane and going on a holiday. We don't have those same luxuries for the level of work that we put on, and subconsciously the pressures that we are having to deal with within society. And there are systemic challenges and barriers that are more than us, but I think it's important that we keep talking about it and actively working towards having a healthier way of working and how we communicate with individuals within a community, because we can't take that level of pressure, and it's not fair because no other group of people do. It's only us that continue to go home and continue to work and continue to have to fight every single day. The minute you walk out your house as a black woman, you're overthinking, you're questioning everything. Is people going to touch my hair? Are they going to see my outfit as being too black? This meeting that I'm going in, these people are going to talk to me seriously because I'm A, female, B, I'm black. There's so many complexities that we subconsciously walk around with. And I think being in this position and knowing Heather in particular, who sadly passed away, I know the pressure that she would have been under, because I'm starting to see some of that pressure myself. I understand the responsibility that she felt that she had within a community. And it's really important that we support each other a lot more. So part of being involved in a health organisation is making sure that my team are healthy. There's no point in us helping our community and fighting for equity if there isn't any in the workplace. It's about making sure that we are all healthy in our minds and we're healthy with our work attitude. And actually, work is just work. And you have to sometimes switch off. You have to say to yourself, if I'm drowning, how am I expected to help somebody else who's drowning? So it's important that we're in a safe space and we're safe in our mind. So the type of leader that I am is definitely one about making sure we all have access to the resources that we need to function in a good way. I try to make the work environment a really healthy place to be. So we have bring your children to work. That's never a question. It's if you feel like you need to go home an hour early, you get off. I have one rule: just be honest, and let's always try to create a really good space to work in, because we're dealing with really challenging subjects. And when we're in those meetings, it's not just talking your piece, you feel it, because you have mental health in your family. You see the people that are being misdiagnosed or being treated poorly in the NHS, or the doctors have completely ignored them, or they've gone on the labour ward and unfortunately they've had a bad outcome. So it's understanding that. So working at BHI, one of our key principles is about empowerment and education. So we're looking to inform our community when it comes to systemic and racial injustices, when it comes to the health inequalities, and when we're looking at tackling mental health, especially around black men. It's important that people are aware of what resources are out there, that they understand how to access those resources, but also who they can go to advocate on their behalf. And that's where BHI comes in. I think education on every sector is important. The more we know about what is available to us, what mental health is, for example, what are your rights. If you are a carer, for example, and you're caring for someone who has mental health, what support is out there for you. So with BHI, we're looking at connecting all those dots, connecting people to the right organisations, to key figures within our community, and really tackling those inequalities. So when there has been a shortfall within a sector or within the NHS, we're there to be your voice. We're there to make sure that we're challenging those institutions to make sure they are doing right by humans. Not by black people, not by Asian people, by human beings. It's important that we kind of really highlight the fact that what you're doing is not just towards one people. It's against humanity. It's to treat someone poorly within a service which is there for all of us. It's disgraceful, it really is. And it's a shame that I'm glad BHI is here, but it's horrendous when we think about that we have to be here in 2024. We're still fighting for equity within a healthcare. So it's education, empowerment, and definitely advocacy work. So I am quite confident that I do have allyship and the right collective groups of organisations, individuals, and key individuals within our community. If I answered that question maybe 6 months ago, I'd probably be very, very nervous about answering that, because being new to this sector and being new to the organisation, you are trying to find your feet. But the more I'm in this role is the more I'm seeing great individuals come towards me, offer their support. I'm connecting now with a lot more organisations that's forming this collective within, I would say, not just Leeds, within the UK at the moment. There's definitely other organisations that have reached out, and key individuals that we're all singing from the same hymn book, and we want to see change and we want to see progression. And we all understand that being an ally means that we need to walk together. We don't need to do it loudly. Some of us could do it in silence. Some of us could be our biggest cheerleaders, but collectively we have to move together in the right direction, and that's how we're going to see change. It's about, collectively coming together, because we're stronger together than we are as an individual or as a solo organisation. So for me, I have always been big on collaboration, partnerships, and actually saying, you're stronger in this particular area, so I'll let you lead, and this is where our strengths are. So if we come together and everyone's focused on what they need to focus on, together we're a powerhouse. And I think our community in particular, the African Caribbean community, we need to have that more positive and progressive way of thinking about coming together and not allowing those petty differences or the small conflicts that we may have internally come in the way of the bigger picture, which is about being a collective, because we have to work together in order to see change and make change for the next generation to come. Many of my allies at the moment are definitely organisations that deliver the similar type of work that we do. So Can, in particular, from Manchester, they are the equivalent, I would say, to the Black Health Initiative, but in Manchester. We are working with organisation like Calm and Centred, which is a counselling organisation in Leeds and Chapeltown, same sort of area. Black Elders, and also the smaller grassroots organisations and key individuals. One of the things that I've learned over time is that many individuals can't upskill to charity level or CIC because sometimes a lack of support or lack of infrastructure, but it doesn't mean to say that they're not actually delivering the work to individuals. These are people that will contact me saying we have a vulnerable adult who's having a mental health breakdown, and they're actually assisting our support workers in delivering safe and culturally competent training and work and support to those individuals. So there's many organisations, as well as obviously local organisation and statutory organisations, so like Leeds City Councils, like Forum Central. These are all organisations and establishments that we have to work together in order to really safeguard a community, which is our community, the African Caribbean community. So there's lots of individuals out there, as well as Mind and other organisations. But for me, it's about the grassroots key players within our community that sometimes are the unsung heroes. They are the individuals that do this work because they're passionate about it, because they're directly impacted, but because they don't have the number from the Charity Commission, or they don't have the funds from, our government to help give them the money to employ individuals and actually get all that infrastructure in place. Sometimes they don't get the notice, but those are the key individuals that actually make it happen. And that's one of the things that I'm keen on really establishing, is better relationships with those individuals as well as those organisations. Really is about making sure that we're taking all that good practice that came before and building on that, and really empowering the next generation to take over and be the activists of tomorrow, be the peacemakers within our community, help bridge the gap between those that maybe lack the communication skills or don't know how to reach out to organisations, and you be that individual that will then connect them to organisations like ourselves. So it's really about learning from what happened before and making sure that going forward we're taking the right practices. But I think for me is making sure, one of the things I personally am going to learn is that Heather did an amazing job, but I saw how she worked and worked and worked. And I think for me, it's definitely about finding that healthy balance where actually, when I've stopped working, I've stopped working, and the relationships that I have is not just around work. It's actually surrounding myself with people that are going to be food for my soul, food for my spirit, and we can have those healthy conversations that really feed what's important, which is our mind and our mental well-being.